Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the status forecast for the channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over a potential Arctic blast that could be entering the USA with the United States of America within the next 6 to 10 days. We'll also be talking about the potential for another snowstorm that could impact portions of the deep south and up the eastern seaboard, along with more potentials throughout the entire month into potentially even February with more storms to come. Some of them could be snowstorms. So we're going to start out the video first with radar and satellite. Currently out there right now, we're dealing with some snow showers in the upper plains and near the Great Plains region. That does trail into portions of the northeast and interior New England. Rain showers and a few isolated thunderstorms happening off the shore of Gulf of Mexico and around the Houston area through New Orleans with some lightning in there as well. Rain showers continue and cloud coverage also continue across Tampa and the Florida area. Atmospheric river happening in the Mexico area with lots of clouds. And in the west, it's relatively dry and it's very windy out there, as those wildfires will continue throughout the next couple of days as these winds continue to gust. Cloud cover in the lots of cloud cover in the northeast, along with the Great Plains region, and then up to the upper Midwest and the upper plains. Now we're going to get into the Climate Prediction Center's latest update. Here's the 6 to 10 day outlook for the temperature outlook. This is put out by the SPC, also known as the CPC, also known as the Climate Prediction Center. There is a below average chance of 90 to 100% through the Mid-Atlantic and portions of the southern northeast all the way back to Texas. This does extend all the way through Florida, all the way back up into the southern plains for those below average temperatures. Only areas experiencing above average temperatures will be in the west and near normal temperatures in the upper plains near the Canadian border. The 8 to 14 day temperature outlook looks to be much of the same thing, only above average temperatures and near normal temperatures are expected in Florida. Only northern Florida really getting into being below average temperatures. That extends all the way up the eastern seaboard into the Midwest, back through Texas again, where much of the state will see likely below average temperatures. That extends up to the Pacific Northwest, and only areas experiencing above average temperatures will be the western half of the country and the Florida area, and near normal temperatures will exist in the upper plains. As far as precipitation goes, there's no risk of heavy snowfall yet, but there is a risk of heavy precipitation. There is a slight risk for the southeast. This doesn't go up into parts of the Mid-Atlantic and back through Texas as well. But now we're going to get into the future radar. Alright, so here's the GFS model. We're first going to go through the temperatures. Here's the temperatures. So I want to go through about the 20th when the Arctic blast enters the United States. Here we go to the 18th. A shot of Arctic air coming to Canada. This will immediately rush to the upper plains. First to see them will be the upper plains. This will eventually make its way all the way down into the southeast as we continue through the next couple of days. And that Arctic blast, the GFS is indicating at freezing marks all the way down into northern Florida, potentially even reaching close to the Tampa area. But obviously northeast and the upper plains and Great Plains and the Midwest are all dealing with single digits, if not below zero temperatures. As we continue on through the next couple of weeks, that will eventually shift off to the east and affect the northeast with below average temperatures, well below average temperatures. And then another shot of Arctic air comes through, potentially on the 25th. This will impact much of the east coast, only excluding portions of southern Florida. Then another Arctic blast could be potential building up in the Canadian area. We get a warm-up potentially during the end of January as we head into February with much above average temperatures, much above average temperatures across the entire portion of the east coast. That does go in all the way into Texas and even into the upper plains, where you don't have to go too far to get into 20s and single digits. As far as the European goes, we'll see what it does for the 18th. Here comes the Arctic blast. It looks a lot more heavy and more significant on the European model. It quickly rushes down, and those pinks and lighter shades of white get way down into portions of the upper plains and even down to the Midwest. That Arctic blast continues on affects much of the northern half of the country. That does even rush down. That freezing line, even with the European model indicating it could rush down into portions of northern Florida. That moves off to the east, potentially below zero temperatures all to the northeast and the upper plains and Great Plains as well. That Arctic blast comes through, and potentially another one. It doesn't make it quite into the United States, but we do get frigid temperatures across the northern half of the country. As we head into the 27th through 31st, we do get a little bit of a warm-up, also in the European model, but as you can see, that cold air is building up in the Canadian region, but those temperatures are well above average in portions of the northeast and up and down the east coast, with near average temperatures potentially in the Maine area. Then that next Arctic blast looks to come through, and this one could even pose a significant threat, again, for much of the same areas. Obviously, the timeline doesn't go that far, but that is that. What does this mean for the temperature anomalies? So here we go. Here comes that first Arctic shot of cold air. This one looks way significant on the European model. That goes through, affects much of the northern half of the country and the central part of the country. That goes through, moves out to the east, a little bit of a warm-up there, and then quickly after that we get another shot of Arctic air that comes through. The GFS model, let's see what it indicates. Here's the GFS model. We get a little bit of a warm-up to the 18th to 20th, and then quickly after that, things go downhill really fast, and we get a deep shot of Arctic air that rushes into the eastern half of the country and eventually impacting the northeast as well. A little bit of a warm-up, another potential round of cold air going down to the Gulf of Mexico. Another warm-up, and then another warm-up, and then finally we get another shot of Arctic air potentially in the portions of the northeast and interior New England. Now, what does this mean for snowfall? Alright, here we go. So first, it's quite quiet out there before things get a little bit more interesting on the 18th. We get a little bit of a trough coming through here with some rain showers and potential thunderstorms down in the deep south. This does not look like much of a severe weather threat. Snow in the interior northeast. That system goes offshore. We've been talking about this little potential area of energy over here. I'll talk about that energy in a little bit, but it doesn't look as significant as it did a few days ago. Then we get a potential, I don't know if I buy this at all, but it's always a potential for a deep south snowstorm, and that makes fun reaching as far down as the Gulf Coast. Another potential storm system through the 24th. A lot of these systems are being cold suppressed down to the south, so they won't necessarily reach into the northern half of the country. Then after that, another storm system potentially makes its way off the eastern seaboard again, but again, too many high pressure blockings is going to keep this offshore. And then things may get a little bit more interesting as we head through the later half of this month with a potential nor'easter, not a very significant nor'easter. As you can see, the pressure gradient is still at 1,002, but it's still something to look out for. Obviously, we're a long way out. And then another Arctic blast comes through. The GFS model, again, rain showers come through, potential line of thunderstorms. This has been more significant on the GFS model with maybe a little bit more of a severe weather threat, maybe a marginal to slight risk of severe weather. We'll see how far we get. And then the GFS model does not indicate much of a Gulf Coast storm, but it does still indicate some snow hitting right along the southern coast of Louisiana and Texas, which I don't know if I necessarily buy that given the temperatures, but it's always a potential. And another potential system, this one looks a little bit more on the significant side of things, that could impact portions of the northeast, including Massachusetts, but obviously a few runs ago we had a major nor'easter in the United States. It doesn't look as significant anymore. That system goes by and then things calm down, but it always gets going again with another inland runner, more than a nor'easter, with potentially rain and wind event in the northeast, and that's that. So what does this mean for our snowfall? And what kind of snowfall could we be seeing? Here's a general idea of the more accurate side of weather modeling with the snowfall accumulation. So this is all the way through. Again, one of those big snowstorms looks to stay pretty much off the coast of Maine and not affect much of interior New England, but throughout the southeast and all the way back through Texas, you get some 1 to 3 inches, and then it quickly goes up to the Appalachian Mountains between 5 and I'd say almost close to 30 inches of snow in some spots, and then it quickly goes off the Gulf of Maine. European model, I'm assuming this is going to be a little bit farther to the south. Yeah, it is. Okay. Northeast getting on some beneficial snow, which is much needed in a drought situation that we're in, particularly a moderate drought. This shows snowfall way down here with good accumulation between 1 and 8 inches given. And remember, this is still this is still a long ways out. This is still 1 to 3 weeks out, but that's that. We can also take a look at the rainfall amount. So here's the European model with the rainfall amount so far. So again, take with this a grain of salt. Also, much of this, a lot of the rain you're seeing here is also falling as snow, but as you can see, much of the southeast getting beneficial rain. Northeast and New England getting in some beneficial rain, but it could be better. West Coast, this is interesting. West Coast could be finally seeing some relief from those fire and wind and drought situations that will lead to maybe some significant fire drainage from all this. And then again, much of the country dealing with above average precipitation, which does not necessarily align with the Climate Prediction Center, but we'll have to see how it goes. The GFS model, let's see what it indicates here. So here we go with the GFS model. The GFS model is pretty much the same thing, only a little bit more of a wider area. Much of the entire East Coast dealing with any sort of precipitation, and it really goes through the entire country. The only areas that may be lacking a little bit of rainfall is right smack in the center of the plains, the upper plains that is. Obviously the southwestern United States down to Nevada and California, but obviously the areas that need the rain are not going to get the rain as far as the wildfire situation goes. Those areas like San Diego and California and Los Angeles. But obviously the Pacific Northwest, with those atmospheric rivers getting on some beneficial rainfall. Alright, we call this the vorticity. These are where we find the energy marks. So, we want to go through the 18th and 20th. Here's our little ball of energy, okay? The problem is you can see the jet stream is tucked so far down. This is the trough right here. Our energy is still like stretched out, so it's not really good because that gets pushed offshore, as you can see. And then another system potentially comes through the 20th. Right in here with that trough again, but again it swings offshore and just misses us. You can see that little area of energy here. That would be our system right there, and then here's our secondary storm system that comes through the 22nd. A little bit of a storm down here. Again, I might be completely wrong with this, but from my learning, that's what that is. And then another system going up the eastern seaboard. And then as we go through, this one looks a little bit more intense with an actual digging trough. This is not exactly what you want to see for snowstorms. You want to have something that's more over here so it gets pushed up the eastern seaboard. But you see what happens here. Kind of just gets stretched out and just falls offshore. And then that continues like that. And then a little bit more of an intense system comes through on the 29th. This is the one we were talking about with that potential warm-up and the rainstorm. That goes up in the northeast with a lot of energy with that system. That goes up. Here's a little line of, here's our little showers and thunderstorms here, and then that moves through, and then things become uncertain from there. The European model may be a little bit on board with this, but we'll see what happens. So the European model has the energy come through on the 18th and 20th. There's our trough right there. There's the system goes through, and then here we go. Here's our digging trough. Okay, here's our system right here. That comes through. It looks a little bit stronger than the European model with that winter storm down there, supposedly. And then that moves through, and then another trough comes through. This will be our potential rainstorm in the northeast. And then that moves through, and then there's that. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy, be sure to like and subscribe to be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel as we are on the road to 50 subscribers. We are 15 subscribers short of 50 subscribers. But until then, stay safe out there as always, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.